Wow, the nut house.
I did. I lost about a year and a half ago, or what was it? About a year and a half ago, I lost my marbles, man, and went to Sierra Tucson, this facility out in Arizona that helped me find them again. Do you know the place?
I'm familiar with that as a place that deals with compulsive acting out.
They also acting out. What do you mean? That's where they send the kids in school.
Right? Yeah. It's like a sex rehab.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, that acting out. I thought you meant like acting out in class. I was like, they send children to this place? Like, put those erasers down. You were sending you to Sierra Tucson, you piece of shit. There are many, as they call them, tracks there.
Okay.
So I was on the trauma track. Eventually, they figured out what my problem was. It was dealing with some childhood trauma shit. They have the recovery track, the rehabilitation track, and I would imagine sex addiction is a track as well, but we didn't have any in any of the groups I was.
It's interesting. I've only heard of Sierra Tucson in the context of sex.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Is that right?
That's nuts.
Well, I mean, they have the Meadows in Scott. Like,
maybe it's Meadows I'm thinking of.
I mean, they,
so it's not that place. Yeah, nobody talked about having a sex addiction.
See what kind of programs
it
they
would have
have
been
there.
really interesting if they were. I would have been dialed in hardcore.
Well, they have a bunch of, you know.
So I guess the obvious question here is,
did they cure me?
well,
no.
Did we cause it?
They you know, as you drive in, there's a little sign that says expect a miracle. And you know, when you go through the gates of any place, and if anybody's been, I've been a person that dropped people off many times. Dropped Jason at many a place and had to leave many times. It was like, what an idiot. There I was going through the gates and going like, who's the idiot now and stuff. So at my lowest, which is when I was going through the gates of that place, I saw the sign and it said expect a miracle. And I was like, what horseshit. I found the miracle. They saved my life and stuff as far as I'm concerned. And on the way out, there's another sign, and the sign says, you are the miracle. Now, if I had just turned around when I was driving in, I'd have saved myself a month and, 40, 50 grand. Find out I was the miracle. But they taught me that while I was there. Thankfully, I didn't pay for it. The DGA insurance folks paid for it. And that's, anybody listening, if you ever have anything remotely mental health oriented that you're curious about, wondering about, if you're worried about yourself, do not hesitate to tell anybody. I was made to feel more comfortable with the notion by my kid. My kid had been in therapy since she was 12 years old. So she knew all the lingo, knew all the speak. And when I spoke to her from the place the first time, she was like, I'm so happy you're in the exact right place you need to be. She's like, and you're talking about concepts that I've been trying to explain to you for years now. Like, it was weird. We related on a completely different level. And I always felt bad that she was a kid in therapy. It made me feel like, well, I guess somewhere we failed as parents and whatnot. And now I'm of a completely different mindset. There was a kid in there. This kid, you're not supposed to say names, so I won't say his name. So let's call him fucking David, for lack of a better description. This kid, David, was there, youngest person there. He looked to be like in his teenage, and he was like going into his he finished his senior year. He's going to be first year in college. So he was in this joint. And a lot of people in this joint broken as fuck, man, including me at that moment in time. Seeing this kid there, he had his issues or whatnot. But by halfway through the program, I was like, he's the smartest one of us here. He's getting his shit out of the way at age fucking 17, 18. He's going to understand so much better how to like regulate himself and keep himself out of places like this by the time he hits my age. Nobody ever gave me a break. Nobody ever, not gave me a break, like gave me the break to be like, let's stop for a minute. And as good as anybody, like Dame Fortune, points at you and the door opens, you do not want to step out of the room lest they don't let you back in. So we work, and then one day we burned out. For me, it manifested this way. I'd finished up the Clerks 3 tour, and that was like nonstop for a couple months. And I describe it thusly. The performance version of myself is not the version that's talking right now. Right now, you're getting authentic Kevin Smith because we're talking about something real. Generally speaking, whenever you hear me talk, hey kids, it's me. That's the other guy, the person that I put on stage in place of me, the facet of my personality that's built for that sort of thing, for public consumption, for entertaining. Child of George Carlin and Sam Kinison and years of Saturday Night Live and friendships across the years and whatnot. I created a version of me that I could put out there and I could just check out a little bit. Like, Nothing wrong with it. Imagine yourself as being in a car with a bunch of different versions of yourself, facets of yourself that at any given moment you give the wheel. As long as you take the wheel back, then you're fine, because there are different aspects of you probably better at things than others. But problem was, I had taken a back seat, let the other guy take over. And I was just kind of a passenger, it felt like, in my own life, because I was in performance mode every damn night. And so one morning I got up and opened up the other guy. The other guy, I kind of represent him as like a larger Muppet version of me with rivets and shit like that. So that opens up, and then I get inside. He closes, I control him. He looks like a kind of oversized, ridiculous version of me. So I opened him up, and normally that's where I sit. Nobody was inside. So I have no way else to describe it except nobody was at the wheel, so to speak. That's when I'd kind of lost touch with reality. So I got scared, and I talked to some folks. Jason Muse's wife, Jordan. I turned to her. I was like, what do I fucking do? And she turned me on to like 3 places. She was like, these are the places that sound like best dealing with what you're dealing with. And we picked Sierra Tucson. Excellent choice, man. Great people there. When I got in, I told them that story about, like, I opened up and I didn't see him. Nobody was driving and shit. And Sean, who was my process group therapist, he goes, okay. He goes, I hear you. He goes, well, the good news is I can tell you right now, you are Kevin Smith. And he's like, and I know that because based on what you just said, the other guy, he's the one who does everything right. He is the right version of you. He is the one who has the perfect answer, and he's the one that takes care of business and whatnot. So he would never come in this place. He would never have need because he's almost perfect. You, on the other hand, only Kevin Smith could come through these doors. You're the one that's broken, so you are Kevin Smith. And I was like, can I go now? Because you just cured me. And he's like, let's just hang out. And so hung out for a month, learned a lot of things, a lot of terminology. I would never say I got cured by any stretch of the imagination, but now I'm aware of where things come from. Learned that I'm a deeply broken, codependent person, people pleaser. So anyone could get anything they need out of me at any given time. Couple that with Catholic guilt and shit like that. It's a power. It's honestly, like, knowing now what I know about myself, it's crazy I haven't been taken advantage of more in my life, because I am never mind a bleeding heart, just like fucking sucker bait, and an inability, a fundamental inability to just say no. What they told me that came down to was at age 9, a lot of shit happened when I was 9. One of these events, like, my grandfather died, and so my grandmother was alone. She lived right around the block from us. And so my mom was like, you should go stay with grandma because she's alone for the first time, ever in her life or whatever. So, all right. So 9-year-old me goes over there, and I stay there. And for the next 2 years, that's life. Like, I constantly go to my grandmother's, spend the night so she's not by herself, live my normal life, go to school, play after school, then go to grandma's and sleep there, and then in the morning get up, go around the block. So throughout my young life, everyone's just like, oh my God, Kevin, he's so good. He goes and stays with grandma. And that was me learning my utility. I'm only talked about, useful, or beloved when I'm fulfilling a function. The function I was fulfilling was he's taking care of grandma, hence he is good. Got me attention, made me feel seen. So for the rest of my life, add to that, I grew up a fat kid. Naturally, you're not anybody's first choice in anything. So the more you can offer people, the more they are likely to maybe let you stick around or involve you in their reindeer games. So this is all fascinating shit that I found out. Now, I regret none of it because it put me where I am today. All of those broken issues, and there are plenty more beyond that and whatnot, including, all right, here's the big shit. So when I was 6, there was a kid who played doctor with me and this girl, and he didn't play doctor with us. He made us play doctor with each other and told us to do shit. I was telling this to the therapist, like, when I was there. We were walking around the track one day, and I was just telling the story about, like, when I was a kid, like, I'm pretty dialed in, like, sex, I said, because when I was a kid, like, this other kid made me and this girl, like, play doctor, and it was at he was direction and shit like that. And then he was about to make me suck his dick, and an adult walked past, and that kid went running, and the whole thing fucking.
When you say dialed in sexually, what do you mean?
I think I've had a heightened sexuality from a young age, and my friend has told me that like my currency in life is sex. I value that more than love or something like that, because being a fat kid, like you were always going to be somebody's last fucking choice. So that is a currency in my life that means something.
Right.
If you're chosen sexually, then you're normal, not like monstrous the way I saw myself through eyes of body dysmorphia and stuff. So that fundamentally, you know, as I'm telling that story, the lady goes, why did you just walk past that? And I was like, well, I mean, I was trying to get to this point. And she's like, Kevin, that's pretty horrifying, no? And I was like, what do you mean? She's like, what you just described, like, was somebody forcing you to do things and almost forcing you to do something and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, I guess I really didn't kind
How
of put
old
it
were
through
you at that
prison.
point?
6.
Wow.
So you just minimized it. And that,
Oh my God, there's the fucking word,
Yeah.
man. It's like you went to Sierra Tucson. That's what they started teaching me. It's
Yeah.
like, what you do is minimize everything that happens to you.
It's been a long time since I gave you guys an update about my hot sauce, and I have big news. We are going into grocery stores because we've got a label without the word butthole on it. And I know that might be upsetting to a lot of you, but the butthole version is still available on Amazon. And we have a new flavor, Heavenly Jalapeno, which is ridiculously good. I mean, what can I say? I love my hot sauce, and I love it when you guys support it. So get it on Amazon, stevo.com, and soon enough in a grocery store near you. Thank you guys. I love you.